restoring any classic car, having modern sound system with modern speakers, but still retaining a factory look is the holy grail. In this video, I'm going to show you my speaker selection for a typical Porsche 928 and what I'm going to do to make them look like factory original. Stay tuned. Today's Christmas Eve 2022. Over the past week, I've been working on repairing the rear trim in the Porsche 928. So while the passenger side was a pretty straightforward process, the driver's side was anything but. Between the wicked curving of the inner panel combined with leather covering its inability to stretch anymore, this is what ended up happening. The leather had shrunk in this corner area. This is the area that fits against the curved rear window. Unfortunately, this section of leather was exposed too long to too much sun and would not move at all, and eventually tore as I tried to stretch it. I'm saving a video on this, but for now, you can see this is what I've been slowly doing all week, rebuilding this section with a product called Flex Fill. You see it in my hand there, and there's a picture of it. That's crack eliminator for leather. Before the new year, I will have a video out on how I restored both trim pieces for the rear cargo. So you watched a video from last week. I showed this where I pulled out the rear cargo area speakers. These are a basic 4-inch unit, and as you can see by this one, this is actually the better of the two. The sun damage was just beyond repair. What I ended up ordering are these JVC CS-DR 421 4-inch speakers. That's what's spec'd for the back area. These are 110 watts, two-way coaxial. I wanted to have a factory look. So before I get into the speaker install, this is the passenger side panel. It needed very little restoration other than the fact I needed to dye it. So if you've watched the earlier videos, or if you notice when I pulled out the speaker, what was hidden for 40 years was a completely different color than what had bleached out. Now with the dye, you can see it's a great match and is really filling that in well. Again, I'll cover that in a separate video, but for now, here's what the aftermarket JVC speaker looks like, and with the grill, that there's no way I'm putting that in. But you can see, even though the bolt circle is correct, having it on above that, I think, is not going to work well with the factory grill. And here I am putting it on, so it'll be very covert. It'll look factory. However, I think for optimum speaker performance, I'm going to end up undermounting this to make sure the grill there's no interference between the tweeter and the speaker grill. So while the rear cargo area speakers is a pretty straightforward install, the rear seat speakers are going to be a little tricky. Now, these, if you watch my earlier video, the passenger side one is blown out. The driver's side's still okay, but I don't like the look of it at all. So previous owners credit when they did a stereo upgrade. I'll give them credit that they used Blaupunk speakers. However, whoever installed this, they put the speaker over the factory enclosure. So what they ended up doing was, at least in my mind, not only does it just, it's an aftermarket speaker, but it also made it what's also a difficult area to get into even more so. You can see having that speaker on top of the factory trim piece added about a ½ inch. I just don't like the look of it. I ended up selecting a JBL 631 6.5-inch three-way speaker. My rationale here was I needed a nice three-way speaker because these are directly behind the front seat passengers, and I wanted a full rich sound because I'm not sure I'm going to get the sound out of the back. As you can see, these are very cost-effective speaker. As part of that, because I bought these through Crutchfield, you get these multi-purpose speaker brackets, and I'll show you how I use these along with the clips that come with that. It shows $12.99, but Crutchfield includes that as part of the purchase. I looked on Amazon and I found these generic 6.5-inch car speaker grills. Now, I'm not going to be using the trim rings. I was focused on having the grills, and you'll see why here in a second. These are the replacements for the factory grills that go on either side of the rear seats. 928s are us, always a great company to work with. They have these readily in stock, and I ordered a pair of these. They're $95 each, so I had those ordered as well. The grill without those trim rings is a perfect fit in the factory enclosure speaker holder. Now I just had to figure out using these adapters, and here I am in this shot. I'm breaking off the tabs of the speaker adapters Crutchfield supplied so that they fit underneath the factory speaker enclosures. And then once I break off all of the tabs, it's a great fit underneath that. Now I'm using the spring clips that came with the installation kit, and I'm putting them over the holes that'll hold the speaker. So my idea here is use the adapter plate and those spring clips, have the speaker hold to that mount, and then use a separate set of those spring clips that came with it to hold the speaker to the enclosure. And that's what I've done here. They're actually compressed fit against it, and that's not going anywhere once I put it into the proper position in the trim piece. And here's what it's going to look like in its proper position. Again, as far as I'm concerned, no one knows it's an upgrade. Looks going to be factory fresh, and just a nice way of having a much better sounding stereo than factory without having the look of an aftermarket system. So those are the speaker upgrades I'm doing in combination with the Blaupunk, the vintage looking SQR deck. Once I have all this together, I will do a complete review on the deck combined with the speakers and the amplifier. I know a couple people out there have wanted to hear my review on the deck. I think it's a great deck, but I want to make sure I do it with speakers in place and the amplifier and everything. So hold tight. Hopefully before New Year's, I will have the video of all the trim pieces back in. Happy holidays to all, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.